Read about Korach, the way he tried and attempted to usurp the authority of Moshe Rabbeinu, and he claimed that the Torah and the decisions Moshe was making was based on his own conflicts of interest, even to the point it was nepotism, that he chose Aaron, his brother, to be the Kohen Gadol, and his children should be the assistant Kohanim Gedolim. Why not the Bechorim? With many other claims. And we find that his cohorts in this rebellion, in this mutiny, were Dosan Aviram. They were the antagonists of Moshe Rabbeinu from the very beginning. After Moshe killed the Mitzri, the Egyptian, they informed on Moshe Rabbeinu, and he fled for a good part of his life, and only returning later to be the Goel. And until the very end, they were literally infuriated, rabid against Moshe Rabbeinu, and they led the rebellion. The Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh writes in Dvorim that factually we attribute all the tragedy of Korach to Dosan Aviram. They instigated it, and they were the cause that Korach ultimately succumbed to his own ego to lead the rebellion. That's how evil Dosan Aviram were. What was Dosan Aviram's issue all the years? It's unbelievable. We find that 4/5 of the Jews didn't leave Mitzrayim. V'chamushim ola b'nei Yisrael Mitzrayim. Dosan Aviram, regardless of who they were evil. They were always the antagonists of Moshe. Why did they leave Egypt? Moshe said, we're leaving. They want to go also. They were showing they're evil. As it says, 4/5 of people died, they were showing. So they definitely were showing. They're classified as evil. So why did they perish during the days of darkness? The only ones who stayed behind were the ones who didn't want to leave. If you wanted to leave, regardless of what your classification was, you're welcome to leave. Dosan and Aviram wanted to leave Egypt. Now the question is, why did they want to leave Egypt? What was the draw? What was the impetus that they wanted to leave Egypt? We find, the Gemara tells us in the Dorim, that we find that when Moshe Rabbeinu was in Midian, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, Mesu Anoshim, Asher Bikshu Es Nafshecha. Those originally who informed on you, they're no longer alive. So the Gemara asks, Dosan Aviram was still alive? So the Gemara answers, Yardu Milchseim. They became impoverished. The only reason why they were able to inform Moshe Rabbeinu was because they were very wealthy. There was a wealthy slave class among the Jews, and therefore they were connected to the upper echelons of the Egyptian government. Therefore they were able to inform on him. But because they had very serious financial reversals, they didn't have those connections. This is Mesu Kol HaNoshim. Now, they were told, when we leave Egypt, where are we going? Eretz Zavos Chol Dvosh, land that flows in milk and honey. We're going to find Batim Leim Kol Tuv, houses filled with wealth, tremendous, everything. Chazal tell us that the least amount of wealth that was taken out of Egypt by every Jew was 10 pack animals loaded with gold and silver. This is a bonanza. Here, Dosan Aviram see, this is a possibility of restoration to the original glory, wealth-wise. They'll be able to recoup what they had lost. Now what happens? Because of the incident in Meraglim, Yamusu V'Sham Yitomu. Anybody between the age of 20 and 60, they're not leaving the desert. They're going to perish over this period of time. They have all this wealth, which they thought when they get to Eretz Yisrael, they're going to invest, Zeres, Zolvas, Chol, Dvosh. They're going to regain their prominence, their glory, their power, their authority. They realize now they're dead end in their life. They're going nowhere. They became infuriated. They became insanely angry, because here they thought the only reason why they left and they trusted Moshe because it was the wealth. All of a sudden now they realize it's totally a pipe dream. They're going nowhere. As a result of this, therefore, they're the ones who fomented the machlokes. And at the end, they said, Yinokareini Anoshim, our eyes should be gouged out. We should not come to see you because of this. Because what drove them all along, it had nothing with Hashem. It had to do purely with their own self-interest And when they realized that self-interest was going nowhere, that's when everything totally imploded.